Hey! Oh, I'm so glad you made it home. Oh, it was alright. Yeah. Yeah. It is weird being home. Everyone seems to be doing DIY things and cleaning and... Yeah, no. I'll just search through my emails and I can send you the pictures. Yeah, it's just annoying, like, how the libraries were all closed or suddenly sent home. Just the second lesson. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
تا 10 بلند میشماری من برم قایم بشم باشه؟ خب تا 10 بشنوم. 1 2 3 4 5 ماما آریا پاشو بریم پاشو بریم آریا
متاسفانه الان سرطان به مرحله رسیده که دیگه شیمی درمانی هیچ کمکی ما نمی‌کنه. تنها کاری که میکنه اینه که جلوی رشد سرطان رو میگیره و زمان میخره واسه. تنها اقدام درمانی که اونم فقط 10% شانس درمان کامل داره اینه که جراحی کنی و توده رو در بیاری.
باشه آقای دکتر من مسئولیتش رو قبول میکنم.
I've got the package. Southwest car park, 15 minutes.
Well, that was hard work. It's over a half a mile walk and a 250 feet climb up to Thor's Cave, but well worth it. Just look at the view. Thor's Cave, named after the Norse god Thor, is a natural limestone cave. It was occupied by humans thousands of years ago and used as a burial site. The bones of bears were also found here during excavations in the 1920s. Listen to that. Great spotted woodpeckers. The riverbed is completely dry now this far downstream. These grids, which are underwater during the winter, cover the entrances to the underground caverns. With permission, it is possible to explore the caverns for a short distance, but there is no route through to Ireland where the river reappears. There is just enough water in the river for the dippers to feed. You would think that the youngster would be able to look after itself by now.
New Year's Eve, 2020. What little there was of the running season is over. Cash-strapped heritage railways will stay closed now until spring, and dependent on being able to reopen again is a crucial period of winter maintenance. With a hugely important grant secured, Foxfield Railway needs to replace a section of its main running track. And to do that, they need to fetch the only suitable wagon for the job, with the only engine that is capable of pulling it, and they have just one day left to do it. Today, this train is carrying hope.
My name's Ron Wally. I've been involved with the Foxfield Railway for 53 years now, virtually since it started.
And I arrived here first in 1970, so it's been my 50th year.
It's New Year's Eve, it's freezing cold, but this is the time of year when heritage railways have to start thinking about maintenance in order to operate in the next year. Today we're going up to our Dillorn Park station. We're taking locomotive Whiston.
Most of our engines are down for maintenance, and we've only got it and a small diesel available for traffic. Now we've got to collect some wagons from up the line, which are essential to our winter programme of maintenance, and Whiston is the only engine capable of pulling these wagons from the other end. It's designed to pull is 1120 tonnes on the level. This is also the last day of Whiston, a steam engine that's been at the railway since March of 1983. Its last day is because it has to have a statutory overhaul that comes due every 10 years.
The spoiler ticket runs out at midnight tonight, so it's going to be its last steaming until it's gone through its major overhaul. Of course, we've had very little income in 2020 because of COVID. We've not been able to operate our normal passenger services.
Like many heritage railways, Major sources of revenue like Santa specials were abandoned due to the pandemic.
It's a dying trade though, that's the only thing. I've got two lovely daughters, but I don't think it's their kind of job. So at some time or other it'll either be sold or it'll close down. Well, it's like, but you can only go on for so long. I'll always find something to do. Yes, I'm really happy. It's life's quite good. I don't have do a lot really. Only come down the shop here. But apart from that, yeah, it's just the only thing I know.
Years ago she was diagnosed with spindle cell cancer, which is kind of like a surface cancer. She came up with a huge lump on her back end that was operated on, and we've had like 2 years without anything at all. But unfortunately we've got around about 6 lumps come back up on her. We've had one that's ruptured on her side, so we're now currently treating that. For me, that's probably the hardest part. Having the lumps, having the cancer, I can cope with it. I can sort of let that slide sometimes because I don't see any change in her. She's happy. It's not like she's showing any signs of being tired or lethargic and not wanting to do anything with me. Since she's been with us, she's been my rock. Because she can do stuff, because she does it naturally. I haven't had to, spend hours on end training her to do something. She actually wants to do it for me. Thankfully, like I say, it hasn't affected her that much, but we know that it's imminent. Our advice from our vet at the minute is that she will tell me. We've been in situations ourselves where we can't afford a lot to eat, but never changes with the dogs. They always have exactly what they should be having. Luna especially at the minute takes a lot of attention, obviously, with the cancer. I try not to bow down to it, and I know that sounds awful, but I don't want to treat her any different, because for me it would be exactly the same if I had that diagnosis. I don't want people running around me. I want people just to act normally. I think if I retired her from helping me and left her home all the time, it wouldn't do her any good.
Okay everybody, we're going 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to 5 Alive News.
Today we'll be looking at the weather and how the internet can be bad for you.
But first, the weather.
The weather has been really bad. Thunderstorms, earthquakes, lightning, and now a black hole.
A black hole?
And he's heading straight to Stoke.
What will we do? It's coming into the studio. I better get a shot of that. Wow, I'm at Old Street. And there's a street party going on for the Queen's coronation. There's jelly and ice cream and lots going on too.
All the streets were decorated with bunting and flags. Everybody went to town in vying with their neighbours, and whole streets got together, and many of the shops in the main street had elaborate frontages with lights and moving images, bits of wood, and pictures of the Queen. Street parties, of course, were a big thing too. In the evenings, afternoons and evenings, big trestle tables were put down, and all the children were invited to partake of these great parties, and bonfires at night.
Hello there, I'm in Great Haywood right now, and this is important because this is where the River Sow meets the River Trent. And fun fact, when two rivers meet, it's called a confluence. So try and impress your teachers there. But these are the two most important rivers in all of Staffordshire. And another fun fact is the River Sow is kind of what gives Staffordshire, or Stafford, its name. Sow, it should be called Stafford, I think, and it's been like sort of like Chinese whispers, it's changed to Stafford. Now I'm going to leave it over to Matt, who's going to give us maybe a bit more information. So over to you, Matt.
Yeah, Great Haywood's quite an important place really because of what's going on over there. Now you can't see it because it's behind some trees, but there's a huge stately home there called Shugborough Hall, which is the home of Lord Lichfield, but it's also one of the most popular places to visit in the county. It's really beautiful, it's got some great grounds, and it's got a farm with wild breed animals in it. As Thomas said, this is where the two rivers meet. This is the confluence between the Sow, which goes through Stafford and off in that direction. It's also joined by the Penk, where we get the name Penkridge from, another famous local place. But over there, just over that bridge there, is something else. That's the canal. So we're going to go and have a look at that.
Hello and welcome to Thunder News. Today an urgent reporter's come in and reporter Charlie is interviewing Professor Alfie, who has invented a time machine. Are you with him now, Charlie?
Thank you, Nathan. Yes, I am. So, Alfie, how does the time machine work?
First, you spin the wheel
to whatever time you would like to go to, and then you press a button and then you were off into the past.
Why did you make the time machine, Professor Alfie?
I made it because I used to watch films and programmes about Doctor Who, and that inspired me to make a time machine.
Wait a minute, should that light be flashing?
Which light?
That one there that says 1950s.
Don't touch it! Oh no!
Where are we? We seem to be in the past. Everything's foggy and gloomy.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
Hello, my old friend, Professor. My name is Superman, and who's your friend over there? What are you doing here, Superman? Look at all the smoke and pollution in the streets coming from the factories and chimney. I promise you, in 50 years' time, I would have got rid of all these things.
In this area, there was a continuous pall of smoke every day, except for a week in August when we had a week's holiday. And the ovens belching it out. You know, when you come to think of it, there must have been nearly 4,000 ovens. And in October, November, right into March, you got this low cloud keeping it down.
Roll up, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to you all. Do you like the circus, the thrills and the spills, the belly laughs and the excitement, the sights and the sounds, the smells and the spectacle? Well, then let me introduce myself. My name is Philip Astley. This is me here, looking rather dapper, if I say so myself. I am the original ringmaster, the father of the modern-day circus, and a British war hero. Kings and queens know my name as the finest provider of entertainment in the land. My story has been told by many, including Dickens, Thackeray, and Austen. I was born in the little market town of Newcastle-under-Lyme in the county of Staffordshire in 1742 during the reign of King George II. I came from a humble background. Father was a cabinet maker, but I had one true love in life: horses. So I decided at the age of 17 to join the cavalry, the most splendid King's Light Dragoons. I rose through the ranks and became a sergeant major. When I left the cavalry and headed home, I knew that riding, and more specifically trick riding, was where my future lay. And so I packed my bags and headed for London town. In 1768, in a field south of the River Thames near Lambeth, I set about wowing the crowds with my own feats of horsemanship. And wowed they were. I had something unique that would truly distinguish my show and would bring me fame and fortune beyond my wildest dreams. And this is it. A simple circle, you see. 42 feet in diameter, to be precise. I would ride in a circle, so the audience never lost sight of me and my riding skills. And apparently, if you believe what they say, the centrifugal force helped me to stay on my horses. I added clowns and jugglers and tightrope walkers and recreated vast historic battles to keep the audience entertained in between witnessing my riding prowess. And lo and behold, Astley's Amphitheatre of Equestrian Arts was born. You call it a circus. Today, the crowds flocked from miles around to witness the most spectacular show in the land.
Hundreds of years of manufacturing brilliance, world-leading innovation and breathtakingly beautiful design is an integral part of the fabric of the potteries. Stoke-on-Trent is one of the few cities affectionately named after the product that it's famous for, but ceramics is more than pots and dishes. It's a unique combination of artistry and engineering. Arguably, the manufacturing industry where women have been the most influential and an essential component to the cultural and economic DNA of this area of North Staffordshire. This film tells the story of the critical role women have played to the success of an industry where all of the women are bound together by the clay. From conception to completion, we celebrate the heritage, the skills, the lives and the camaraderie of these women in the workplace.
Women have always had quite an important role in the ceramics industry. When it was first a cottage industry, you often see women working alongside the rest of their families as a way of supplementing the family income. And then as the industry really takes off and develops, again, women are still provide quite a large proportion of the total workforce in North Staffordshire. I think there has always been a recognised need for women to work in the ceramics industry in North Staffordshire. If you look back historically, even as late as 1904, there was an account by a factory inspector who said that women were looked on as being lazy if they didn't contribute to the family income by going to work, particularly in the ceramics industry, because at that time the other jobs in the area, like the mining, didn't bring in sufficient income.
silent. Life at a standstill turns to stone. Life at a standstill turns to stone.
Calculation, the times at the table. Daddy is the teacher,
And mum's her own boss.
the sudden ellipsis, the grammar of grieving, learning the lessons of longing and loss. And is the technology servant or master? Screen from the earth as the messages bring. Faces and portraits are framed in the windows. Gaze through the glaze of the burgeoning spring. Faces and portraits are framed in the windows. Gaze through the glaze of the burgeoning spring. The shooter in the trees tells of histories of merry England very long ago.
And down the centuries, their voices cry, so swiftly fly, an arrow from above.
The street is gone and our forest stands beside the running of a crystal stream, where stag and boar may wander wild and free, and where a child may find a greenwood tree, when lovers spring and blossom on the wood is like the body's spirit, a merry inward is like the body's spirit, so very merry.
A spirit moves between the trees. A subtle shape, a stealthy tread. delight on a shiny night in the season of the year. Oh, 'tis my delight on a shiny night in the season of the year. A rugged band of merry men, their hearts are proud and true, renowned in English history for feats of daring do. And here in Sherwood Forest they may live outside the law and pick the pockets of the rich to subsidize the poor. The trees provide a haven from the crooked paths that be. In camouflage of Lincoln green, they're really hard to see. They hunt the royal venison and feast on wild boar and cut the purses of the rich to subsidize the poor.
There's mighty little John and much the miller's son, bold the scarlet friar Tuck and fearless Lady Marianne. And I was now the service joys his famous language gives, to spread my surface smile to the cause he ever lives, to hide the light of sorrows and goodness of wishing him. Oh, 'tis my delight of thee tried and failed the lilies of the hill. Yes, 'tis my delight of the sturdy hand that arrows straight and sure, to novel and thick and pilfer and pick,
Fleece and screw and diddle and do,
snaffle and stitch and rob the rich, to subsidize the
roll and income and pick, fleece and screw and diddle and do, snaffle and stitch and rob the rich, to subsidize the poor.
The day is almost over now. The moon is rising in the east.
The fires were bright and merry, and the dreamer joins the feast.
Now the lovely nightingale begins her serenade, a song of love, a legend. The outlaw and the lovely nightingale begins her serenade, a song of love, a legend. The outlaw and the
When England is in a dark and troubled time, heroes appear in story and rhyme, living a life that sets them apart with a resolute mind and a lover's heart. The ballad makers of old Albion
the sun.